Welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. Today we'll be talking about whether or not there are more Earth-facing coronal mass ejections. We'll give you a little bit of a forecast. Plasma. There is plasma galore right now. So here are some images of the sun. I'm your host, by the way, Dan, aka smAsho. We're looking at a colorized magnetogram as well as the 171 angstroms view, and it's enough to make you put on some shades. It's actually not that crazy, but we do have sunspots 2797 and 2798 down here and 2799 up here, and this does not appear to be a sunspot yet. I don't think there is an umbra associated with that active region in the northeast. I did have a senior moment yesterday. Shout out to Brett. Thanks for correcting me. I was calling the sunspots the wrong thing. It's 2797 and 2798 are the names for these, and this is 2799. Here's another view in multiple wavelengths, 335, 94, and 193. And we've got some amazing HelioViewer movies for you. There's a bunch of activity also going on down here. Not there. Down here. And we'll show you that momentarily. Again, lots of stuff to cover. The radio flux is at 78 still. There's a one-year chart to put that in context. And there is the 10.7 centimeter radio flux and sunspot number, which has actually just gone back up again. So I'm not exactly sure what the sunspot number is going to be now. It's probably something like 50. Because, yeah, I'm not going to get into the counting of sunspots. Let's take a look at what's going on from the perspective of stereo A, and it's quite spectacular. So here we're going to show you, we're going to save the best for a second, and I'm going to vanish. So you got a full screen of this. So we've got some somewhat Earth vicinity type ejecta here. Does not appear to be Earth-facing ejecta. It looks like it will miss to the west, if I had to guess, although this is still unfolding. So the forecast is that there is a significant possibility for an ongoing situation to happen here where we could see some Earth-facing ejecta. And check out the spectacular views on the difference imagery. Looks like a giant phased cone coming out. Just amazing slow-moving coronal mass ejection there. And again, you're looking at stereo A right now, folks. That is from Lagrange point 5. So we put up that graphic there so you understand the perspective of this. And Earth would indeed be off to your right from that view. So let's take a look at a view from Lagrange point 1 to see what the LASCO C2 is able to see. And we see no ejecta coming out of the eastern portion, and all the ejecta coming out of the western portion, an indication that the current ejecta is likely to miss Earth to the west. We'll show you the C3 also while we're on this page. It also shows you Jupiter and Saturn. And I think there was a comet on this. Again, we're not really going to worry about it. We've got too many things to cover. So here are the locations of planets in the solar system. And here's me, reappearing. So there's where planets are and so on in the solar system right now. There's where things will be in a week. On January 30th. Looks like one day after a full moon. So we've got some amazing HelioViewer movies for you. We're going to show you about half in the beginning and about half in the end. Crazy filamentary behavior going on down here in the southwestern limb. Here's a magnetogram. There's the latest. And both sunspot groups remain beta-class sunspot groups. So they both have opposite polarity umbrae. And 2797 has remained stable. Now we're showing 1700 angstroms. 1600 angstroms. My mistake. We're showing 1600 angstroms here, which is thrice ionized carbon. We don't always show this. I just wanted to cite the fact that those bright spots are where there is lots of carbon, ionized carbon, emitting UV light. Is that carbon being produced on the surface of the sun? Well, in all likelihood it is. But in any case, I just wanted to cite the bright spots in carbon. Anyway, great view of sunspot 2797 and 2798 in the ionized carbon view. And if you want to know about the wavelengths, head to the SDO page. It's sdo.gsfc.nasa.gov/data, the standard data page. And if you go there, you can read about them. There's the one we just showed. That's the 1600 angstroms. Carbon-4, 3 times ionized carbon. So you're looking at temperatures there at 11,000 and 180,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So here's the spectacular view in 304 angstroms. And allow me to get back off the screen. And if you look down there in the southwest corner, you see the plasma that ejected, as well as some that is still suspended out there in the corona. And this is one of those moments when there's a bunch of plasma in between the Earth and the Sun once again. So the probability and possibility for coronal mass ejections is indeed quite high. And this, you haven't seen the end of these coronal mass ejections would be my forecast. So here in 193 angstroms, you can see that coronal hole just rotating out. We should expect some wind, some solar wind, high-speed coronal hole wind stream, that is, from that in about, I don't know, 3 days. 2.5 to 3 days. And 193 angstroms is one of the ionized states of iron. And there are many, and they produce very different images. Great view of that coronal hole there. Here's one of the other ionized states of iron. This is 94 angstroms. And it looks like the latest solar flare activity actually came out of sunspot 2798, which is the trailing North Pole umbra there. I don't know why they're really separating that in the two sunspots. I consider this one sunspot group, but whatever. You can also see a good view of 2799 up there in the northwest. And we call the left side of the sun the east and the right side of the sun the west because of where the space weather rises and sets. Anyway, we've got close-ups. I'll show you only one of them before we move on to more data. Here's a close-up of the North Polar region, a good view of sunspot 2799, and the North Solar Polar area, as well as some filaments in the northeast. And you can see a bit of a view of that active region rising as well. And we'll show you a bunch more images of the sun here at the end of the video. The star of the show, the star of the solar system. So here at the Smash News Network, we don't only cover daily space weather. We cover various things. And here's me, reappearing. So yeah, check out our playlists. Today's Smash Lights segment will be completely separate from the daily space weather video. We won't tell you what it's even going to be about. You'll just have to tune in and find out. Check it out. This is a river coming out of the White Island volcanic crater on New Zealand. You want to talk about geoengineering? That's geoengineering for you right there, folks. That is geoengineering in its truest form. A volcanic lake forming a river. Let's see what's been erupting And Klujevskoy is on the list. It's producing a 25,000 feet of altitude volcanic ash plume. Because keep in mind, folks, when I say it's a 25,000 foot ash plume, I mean it's 25,000 feet above sea level at the top. In any case, don't fly your John Denver-style ultralight aircraft over the caldera on the Kamchatka Peninsula. Shivaluch, also on the Kamchatka Peninsula, is producing about a 10,000 foot lower plume of ash. Don't fly your hang glider or wingsuit over that. Suwanosejima is also erupting, flight level 060, 6,000 foot ash plume. Manam, I think that was on the list yesterday. Anyway, in Papua New Guinea, Mount Manam exploding. 16,000 foot ash plume there. Raung in East Java exploding. 12,000 foot ash plume there. Popocatépetl in Mexico exploding, 19,000 foot ash plume there. Pacaya exploding, 11,000 foot ash plume there. That's a lot of volcanic ash. That's going to be a lot of fertile soil downwind from those volcanoes. Revenador also exploding, flight level 140. It's a 14,000 foot ash plume. And Sabancaya also exploding in Peru. It's producing a 24,000 foot plume of ash. Please do not attempt to pole vault the caldera. Next, looking at earthquakes here over the past 24. And the 8 and 9 magnitude earthquake drought continues as we saw a 7.0 magnitude quake, which we reported on just 2 days ago. But in any case, let's see what's going on lately. And we start out the list with a series of deep quakes, such as one in the Philippines, one in Alaska. That's only a 2.5 magnitude in the Aleutian Islands, though, and a 4.5 in the Philippines. That 4.5 magnitude quake at 124 kilometers depth. That's pretty deep. That's deeper than any human being has ever even drilled. Were you aware? Have you ever heard of the Kola Deep borehole? Yeah. It was, shall we say, interesting. Was this the largest of the past 24? It's a 5.4. We had one happen while I did show prep. We'll get to it. Here is a 4.3 at India. Not the most common place for a quake there. Wangjing, India. I love the name. It's a 4.3 magnitude at 114 kilometers depth. Oh, there's a 5.0 in China. Can you say China? Chida. It's spelled C-H-I-D-A. Say it. Say it aloud. The video cannot continue until you say it aloud. Chida. Say it like you have an upper respiratory infection. Chida. 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 The largest quake of the past 24 was a 5.7 at Papua New Guinea, north of Australia. And there's a deep quake at Japan, a deep quake at Fiji. That Fijian quake, a 4.2 magnitude, at over 549 kilometers depth. There's a location of that deep quake in the deep quake capital of the world between Fiji and Tonga. Leave us a comment if you'd like to go to American Samoa and hang out in Pago Pago for New Year's. Yeah, it's going to be a thing. Here at the Smash News Network, we want to celebrate the year of accountability by being the last people in the world to experience New Year's, thereby prolonging the year at American Samoa. You don't even need a passport if you're an American to go to Pago Pago. Yeah, good times. It's crazy. It's very close to the international date line. And let's move on to talk cosmology. Are we talking cosmology? We're talking real-time solar wind. That counts. It's output from a star, folks. So we see the BT-BZ recently swung into negative territory here. You can see the BZ is down here at between -4, and it's actually recently converged on the 0 line. The BT is pretty high here, around 7 total field. That's the BT. That's the total B field. We also saw a recent uptick in solar wind density. Could it be a coronal hole wind stream arriving? Perhaps. Perhaps. Let me press refresh here because we want to make sure that we have the most current data. There we go. Current solar wind speed around 13 protons per cubic centimeter. Current solar wind density 13.26. We'll say around 13 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed just over 300 kilometers a second. I would note that the temperature dropped off at the same time as the speed came up. So we'll be keeping an eye on the density. And when I say ion, well, the pun. You get the idea. Now it's time for me to vanish once again. And here's the KP index, which is at 1. And it's only been at 1 or 0 for the past 3 days. Here's the weak magnetosphere. It's 4 hours of pressure data. And we'll see this pressure jump up. As that solar wind density increases, you'll see an increase in the pressure here. I haven't seen it yet. I'll act like I'm surprised when it happens. Did you see that? The pressure came up. Must have been a result of increased solar wind density. Here are ground magnetic perturbations looking at the Earth's B field and changes in it. Again, it's 4 hours of data. And we see some significant magnetic perturbations here during this polar excursion over Antarctica and both North Poles. I would note perturbations over the part of Antarctica that's south of South America. We don't always see it, and we don't always do a cosmology segment, but today we will. And we're gonna choose a random quantum number between 1 and 1031, and today's number is 558. And at the Neil Gorell Swift Bat X-ray Observatory, number 558 is XTEJ 1637-498, which is an X-ray transient. What does that mean? Well, we have no idea what that means. We simply don't know what it is. Is it a star? Is it a planet? Is it a spaceship? Is it a really stupid YouTube channel who doesn't know what it's talking about? Well, here it is on Aladdin Light. And I don't see, that's Sinbad, rather. Now we'll go to Aladdin Light and see if it shows up, say, I don't know, the XMM Newton? Nope. How about the Chandra? Nope. How about the Fermi? Nope. How about the 2-mass infrared light? Yay, there's a thing there. So yeah, that's a good one. I like this. Unknown X-ray source, J1637-498. Probably a star. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably a star. But in any case, that's today's cosmology segment. It gets weird sometimes when it comes to cosmology. That's half the fun. And the other half of the fun is clickable at smAsho.com. Check us out on social media, perhaps. Also, you may even find a new store if you go to the homepage, as we've recently opened another merch shop. We'll show you an example in a minute. But first, don't forget to check out the existing ones. For example, have you seen the Smash Survived shirt? Well, it comes in a variety of colors. Check it out. There it is in gold. There it is in black. And I'm actually wearing a variant of this shirt right now. Now, the one I'm wearing is no longer available because you have to be an elitist prick to be a YouTuber. And so there's the current one I'm wearing. It's I've survived a global pandemic so far. Now, my shirt's actually purple and the graphic's slightly different, but we changed the graphic. Here it is in green. That's one of the really cool versions of it. Perhaps pick yourself up a I survived a global pandemic and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. You can link to all that stuff at smAsho.com. Pick up some merch. And most importantly, pick up this piece of merch, the Google Defined shirt. Yes, I won't even talk about it. It's linked below the video. But there are the graphics. I'll let the graphics scroll. I'll let the graphics scroll for your viewing pleasure so that you understand the definition of the term. Feel free to pause. We'll be here when you unpause. By the way, we are streaming live to Twitch. It's a fantastic streaming platform, twitch.tv/smAsho. Thanks to our followers over at Twitch. And please don't forget to subscribe over at YouTube and at BitChute, as there is exclusive content on all the different places. If you're viewing on YouTube, don't forget to check out the playlists over there. YouTube.com/smashamash/playlists. We got to make another Smash Hole of the Week video. And the next one's going to be fascists. Yeah, fascists. There are all kinds of other playlists there too, like smashamash.org presents The Sun and the Smash News Network, and even tutorials and nature videos and aquarium videos, and that is an A and that is a hole in the ground, and the diamond anvil too hard to smash, and so on. So please take a moment to press like and subscribe. That's okay, we'll wait as the place burns to the ground. We'll wait for you to press like and subscribe, and we'll continue burning. Have you pressed like and subscribe yet? Seriously. Oh, you have? Oh, thanks. Now press the share button and share on your social media, especially if you have thousands of Facebook friends or billions of views on YouTube or whatever. And thanks to our YouTube subscribers. And if you're on BitChute, thanks BitChute subscribers. If you're not on BitChute, get on BitChute. Maybe you'll see gems like this: Trainwreck, Dumpster Fire, the DNC, Bernie Sanders, Google, Insanity Files, and more. There's exclusive content, just like there is on our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/smashamash. Thanks to our patrons, the true source of funding, the main source of funding for the content. Again, it's patreon.com/smashamash. Please consider funding us, as we've got a lot of things to do. And frankly, my dear, we can't afford it, and I give a damn. Since nobody cares how much you know until they know that you give a damn. Frankly, my dear, I do. So that's today's cosmology segment, and let's move on to get back to data and the final images of the sun, as they are spectacular. Let's see what's going on at the F ionosphere layer, which is this red F around 300 kilometers. See that? Well, the GOES 16's making measurements. And here's the X-ray flare we saw. It happened at 0 dark 40. It was only a B-class flare, nothing to really be concerned with, although it did cause some ejecta. And you can see what's interesting about the X-ray flares, by the way, is that every sunspot kind of has a different, see the way that's like a signature of the sunspot right there. Every little flaring event has its own little signature. It's like a fingerprint. And we don't see any proton strikes. The GOES magnetometer is looking a little spiky here. We're seeing these sawtooth patterns happening. Probably an indication there's a bunch of plasma in between the sun and the Earth, and indeed there is. Now the Earth is in the South Pole current sheet, shown here in red. You can see the Earth's potential field surface source line in orange there. And let's see, no forecast on that. The magnetic environment can suddenly change, and this data is 1 hour and 12 minutes old. Here's a line of sight coronal hole plot, which shows you that South Pole oriented coronal hole just rotating out of the Earth-facing view, out of the Earth-facing zone, I should say. Some more minor coronal holes rotating in there associated with the North Pole. You can see them up top in green. Here's a similar view. It shows you the sun's B field once again in blue. It also shows you the poloidal fields and a solar magnetogram. And lastly, we'll show you the coronal magnetic field plot, the field plot of the sun's chaotic atmosphere. Just making sure that we have the graphics on the screen, folks. Again, I apologize when I have senior moments. It happens to the best of us. Next, looking at the ionosphere, this is a full day of data. Slide that up a little bit. There we go. Allow me to re-vanish. And the ionosphere is looking quite a bit more normal here, actually. Here's the latest image coming in at 10 o'clock Universal Time. Here's the electron flux forecast. And nothing really to say there. Expecting a pretty flat electron flux over the next 3 days. Here is a visualization of essentially the inner Van Allen belt. We do see some anomalies once again over Antarctica and over North America. Expect some GPS errors in the early afternoon in places like East Central North America. Here's a 3-day chart of the electron flux. You can see pretty low levels here. And if we are getting struck by a coronal hole wind stream, expect this to be lower. So that would be my best guess, would be that my forecast would be for down here, not up here. And for you new viewers, those yellow diamonds mean the observed electron flux. And the green square is the forecast. Here's a 1-year chart to put it in context. Feel free to pause. We'll be here when you get back. Next, we're going to look at meteorological stuff real quick. The jet stream of the eastern world. I would note once again the jet stream blowing backwards or east to west over the western Pacific and Indian Oceans. Here are the jets of the western world. And it looks like they can expect some warm weather in places like Italy. Actually, scratch that. It should be just average. We do see a pretty significant anticyclone up here, close to the net North Pole, actually. In between, actually close to the Canadian North Pole, in between Canada and Greenland. You see that clockwise rotation there. Let's take a look at the surface winds real quick. There are the surface winds. You can see how different those are from the jet streams, which is the 250 hectopascal winds are what we use for that at nullschool.net. Next, looking at pressure cells. Here are pressure cells now, and we're going to advance this into the GFS forecast for tomorrow. There is the forecast for pressure at tomorrow noon Eastern Time, where Smash Staff and I are located. Shout out to Smash Staff. Shout out to Granddad. There's a GOES lightning mapper. Not a lot of lightning to map. And here's lightningmaps.org. It's a real-time lightning map. And we've got some significant lightning there over the central Mediterranean. I'm not going to zoom in and give any localized warnings, although we regularly do so here at the Smash News Network. Next, we'll show you the U.S. Doppler Radar Map as we try to pack a lot of value into a little bit of time. Basically a ribbon of snow going over the center of the country, but not a lot of moisture overall. So here's the water vapor map for the Americas. We don't always show that one, but shout out to Bruce Minas, one of the few, the proud, the South American viewers. And we'll show a close-up of the lower 48. There's the cloud cover, the lower 48. Notice the low clouds. Not there. These are all low clouds in this area here. And a bunch of low clouds over the Gulf of Mexico as well. Here's the water vapor map. And you can see not really that much moisture over the U.S. right now. It's pretty dry, despite there being some snowfall. And it's about time to close this thing out. First, I would remind you to press the notification bell, press share on YouTube, like and subscribe, and so on. Do you like our bonus features? Leave us a comment. Tell your friends, foes, science noobs, and science pros. about the channel. We try to have something for everyone. All right, so here's the colorized magnetogram. Here is sunspot 2797 and 2798. 2798 looks like it's breaking down. Here's 2799. 2799 is looking like it might lose its beta class as the trailing umbra here. Does not look like it's very coherent in terms of magnetic field. And there's that active region. It doesn't look like a sunspot. Let's go back and check. I don't see any umbrae. Not a sunspot, not yet. And so there's sunspot 2797, 2798, which indeed is breaking down. And there's 2799, which is now alpha class. So it's a bit of a dip in solar activity here. That is now an alpha class sunspot. It's got no opposite polarity umbra. It's just a North Pole umbra now, folks. Now we've got some more spectacular helioviewer movies. Where did we leave off? We left off with the 304 angstroms North Pole view. Here's the 131 angstroms active rising region, which is, by the way, once again, not a sunspot. Here's the same region in 171 angstroms. Significant active region there. Could become a sunspot with absolutely no warning, although I would not expect it to. And here's what's going on. Here's what was going on in the southeast in the past 24, and it's fairly spectacular. Now, this view doesn't show you the filament as well as some other views, but we've got the views that do. Here's 171 angstroms, and this is quite a spectacular view of the filamentary behavior. Here you see the eruptions happening, as well as some plasma splashing back down onto the chromosphere. Here's 193 angstroms, which is just as good. Great close-up of the south solar polar coronal hole, sunspot 2798 and 97, and that coronal hole as well. And here's the ultimate view, the 304 angstroms. Check it out. Yowzers. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's the local yellow dwarf doing its regular old thing, ramping up activity. Again, there still is a possibility for more coronal mass ejections. Don't be surprised to see more videos coming out from our channel today. We'll see you next time at the Daily Space Weather. Remember, if you're driving, don't drink, and if you drink, don't drive. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. Visit our links. Pick up some merch. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back.